Let's
But
start. Hey
hey, we're
guys.
live.
Hey, I'm Alex.
And May?
Marco,
Hey, today's subject is in China. What happened to COVID? What happened? So, as you all know, for a time, China has been being very strict on the COVID restrictions. Most people know that there's supposedly some protests going on too, and then all of a sudden, poof, it just disappeared. It seems like it was like something that's kind of swept under the rug. Not to say it negatively, but yeah. So Marco, our mainland expert over here, also have some thoughts on this. So let's start with Marco. So what do you think?
no, I think it's not just China, right? Mainland China. I think all the whole world just all of a sudden like COVID is nothing. Like we don't even heard about any discussion about COVID-19 anymore, right?
Yeah.
And it just happened so quickly. I spent like 2 weeks. I spent a whole week in Shenzhen and Foshan, which is two really big cities in Guangdong province, the southern part of China. I spent a whole week there, and nobody talks about COVID, and nobody was wearing masks. Some people are still wearing masks, but I guess mainly just for their own sort of personal preference, not a restricted uh, thing to do, which is pretty amazing. And I went to these local malls. I had meals like lunch and dinners with my friends, and people just don't wear masks. They just they just dining together, and it's pretty crazy. And then all of a sudden, just things just kind of switch over. I would also say this: like I manage a pretty big team in Guangdong, uh,
Mhm.
like about 50 people now, and at January before Chinese New Year, when the mainland Chinese COVID policy just relaxed, everybody has COVID. I couldn't conduct any kind of meetings because all my clients, all my suppliers, and my team, they all have COVID, and they all have to, stay at home, and they couldn't talk, they couldn't like get on the screen to have these like video conference. And then like when Chinese New Year passed, uh, beginning of February, when I had these meetings again, and I was like, hey, how's the COVID situation now? And my team was like, no, I don't know anyone has COVID anymore. I felt like
COVID.
everybody it's cure, and I was really surprised. And when I went to Shenzhen last week, and I felt like you know it's nothing. Nobody talks about it anymore. So that was my kind of personal experience about this.
Yeah, out
Yeah.
of sight, out of mind, almost like with Marco and I could attest. Everybody's always talking about before when COVID was happening. Oh, the new normal. People are going to do things via Zoom, and people will realize that hey, you don't have to fly anywhere anymore. And then like as soon as COVID opened up, like the borders opened up in Hong Kong and Bangkok and Thailand, all of a sudden we were making like trips back to Thailand to see our boss. Like it was like a ping pong ball, like almost
It's
every.
crazy. It's crazy.
So it's yeah, yeah. I made a prediction that the new normal it's going to go back to the regular normal, but we'll see. But May, what are your thoughts on this? With China opening up, I'm sure there's a lot of Chinese tourists there now, right?
Oh, and people who came. I'm in blockchain business, and I obviously there are lots of people from Shenzhen and in Hong Kong that working regarding blockchains and cryptocurrencies. Though China banned, they're working from the software side of view or from the development point of view. So I met a lot of fellows coming from Hong Kong, China, and all over the places coming to Thailand. You see a lot of Airbnb places that particularly targeting Chinese. You see a lot of customers filling up, and I think it affects us in so many ways. Well, my favorite place filled up So I have to queue now. And but you see a lot of money coming through making businesses. You start to see stock going up. You start to see a lot of things looking quite positively. And one of the big driver is China is opening up and they start to spend money that they've been saved. When Marco said COVID-19, it's like, whoa, was that 2019? Was that like it's I am living in a time paradox here. And I think a lot of people have lived in the same situation. So yeah, in Thailand, a lot of people voluntarily wear masks, but I don't when I go out, and except when I go to hospitals or certain places. But foreigners and me, they don't wear masks, but a lot of Thais they still do. And but yeah, you start to see a lot of business picking up, but still the lots of business that still hurt from 2020 that still couldn't pick up. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of dynamic coming here. It's going to be a new normal, but maybe not resulting directly from the COVID, but the result from people behind the scene, during those times they've been developing a lot of things, AI and all the tech stuff, and you start to see things coming out. And I think you start to see you will see a lot of progress during those years. A lot of people working very hard really to develop certain things, and 2023 2024 you will start to see this thing coming out, and I'm sure it's going to be mind-blowing, and it's going to drive business and economy globally in certain ways.
So you're saying that there's going to be, during this whole hibernation from COVID, a lot of people hunkered down and spend more focus developing tech, which are going to be available soon. That you attribute that indirectly to COVID being hunkered down?
When you don't have customers, and this is my point of view, when you don't have customers, when you don't know who to serve, but you have some cash stacking in your company, you start to put money in reinvesting or research or development, or like, let's see what we have and let's see what we can do, because we have talents in our companies and we want to keep things growing. So let's push in the term of business, of research and development more. And personally, I experience a lot of people put a lot of money in developing their own business and better themselves, personally and business wise. And those people, and those companies, I'm sure they're going to thrive, or they will have a lot of patent for them to sell. So so this is what I'm thinking.